Hello, Vibers, and welcome to the Vibe with Kai podcast. It's your boy Kai, and I'm so excited to be sitting here with, I'm going to hype you up. I hope you're ready. Best-selling author, high performance mentor, and most importantly, one of my first friends that I ever made on TikTok, ever on the interwebs. And she taught me how to say her name the first time she was on my podcast. It's not Sandra Hazley. Don't get thrown off by that E. Sandra Hasley. I practice.
Don't get thrown off. Careful.
I practice every single day. Listen, before we get started, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel and be the first to be notified whenever I post new content, which is pretty much every day. And be sure to subscribe to the Vibe with Kai Patreon, where you'll get some extra footage of me and Sandra. We're going to be talking about some stuff. And you're not going to be able to see it here. You're going to see it on the Patreon side. So make sure you go subscribe. Now, let me tell you about this wonderful person that you see on your screen or that you're about to listen to. Sandra is a high-performance strategist and mentor, two-time international best-selling author and keynote speaker, having seen success in the health, wealth, and retail industries. She's helped thousands of women across the world in over a dozen industries learn how to create the life of their dreams through business they feel passionate about. She has contracted with private corporations such as Tony Robbins, Dean Graziosi, to help create trainings for workshops and keynote speaking on their behalf. My friends, I want to welcome to the Vibe with Kai podcast once again, Sandra Hasley. What's up?
I'm so glad to be here.
Super excited. I think you're my first repeat guest. Are you? I think you're my first repeat guest.
First?
I think so. If not the first, then maybe the second.
Let's go with first.
We're gonna go with first. Whoever is the actual first, they're gonna be sitting there like, what the hell?
Hey Kai, do you remember me? And then I'll be like, second's the best, first is the worst. Anyway.
If you're not first, you're last. That's how it works. I'm super excited. Yeah, like legit, for people that don't know, you were my first, like one of my first TikTok friends. You were last on my podcast back in 2020 when the world was on fire. It still is. But it's more of like the simmer. We've kind of accepted the fact that we have burns all over our body. I think that's how it works. Yeah, it's warm. It's warm outside right now. But a lot has happened since then. So let's start off with this. How have you been since the last time we spoke in summer 2020?
Man, it was like this. Like 20, I gotta say, 2020 hit me easy. I was like, 2020 is the best year of business I've ever had. It's amazing. Like, what's everybody so upset about? Just kidding, it's awful. But 2021, I had like a lot of wild, like really wild pitches thrown at me. And it was just, it was personal, it was business, it was like culture stuff. It was a lot. And that was probably the most difficult navigation year that I've had in trying to not only manage life, but also find myself and grow myself in it, and then like even heal myself in it. So this year, 2022, has been wonderful for like the tail end of that into the next season. And I've been really grateful to do the work that I've done. And I've stopped doing one of the businesses that I'm doing with two of my best friends, and we're still like best friends, but we all felt like we had this calling to do our own thing way before we thought we were ready, but it was like, let's do it. And so I've been able to re-energize my own brand and like really fall deep into it. And that's helped me become and like expose more of who I am and the things that I want to do with full control. And it's been a really great year.
You're a true rock star, because I see your stuff pop up on my feed all the time. And you like legit are a rock star, and I'm always so inspired by you and the work you put so much work into what you do. And we're going to talk about this. You put so much work into improving not only yourself but improving the lives of the people that you surround yourself with and that reach out to you for assistance. So I want to talk about that a little bit. You spend pretty much your entire day finding ways to empower women, all around the world. What has that journey been like for you over the past 2 years, just finding ways to empower women?
Wow, yeah. Nobody's asked me that. Why doesn't anyone care as much as you do? Okay, so this is just water. We're all set.
You told me before that was vodka, so
you can't make friends without lying from the beginning, can you? Just kidding. It's straight vodka. Okay. So we have, so like for the work that I do it's been like we talked about earlier, before this, about how when you just kind of like decide to be all the way who you are, as much as you know that that is at this moment, like open the lid all the way up and just say like, what am I? Who am I? What do I want? What do I do? What lights me up, kind of thing. And it's like, the more, for me, it's like the more conversations I have with people, the more I'm like, oh yeah, me too. Oh yeah, that happened to me. Oh, I can help you with that. And then I'm realizing there's these patterns in conversation with so many women. And I'm like, oh my God, I've been through so much of what you've been through. I need to start talking about this because it feels good to talk about it. And if it helps you and you and you individually, I'm going to do it globally. And so it's these conversations that tend to instigate further trainings and more, organized trainings to help them bring them through a process. And whereas I used to believe that, having a signature course of something or a signature program, aside from like maybe the one-on-one coaching, would be like all that you ever need. But I have so many more dynamic pieces and life lessons and elements that enhance who I am. And they're so like the whole picture is like a 360 view. It's like, it can't just be business. It can't just be mental game. It can't just be womanhood. It's all of it. And so if I'm not delivering it on that level, I just feel like it's an incomplete delivery for people. So this year I've been like, I see the patterns and I make a course for the patterns. I make a live program for the patterns. I replay the patterns. I resell the pattern. Like, I resell all those things. And it's like, wow, it's truly all of these pieces that go into building an entrepreneur with strength at every level and healing at every level. And it's through those, those patterns, through conversation that you see and that you intentionally go after when you see the wound in your life in some way. And you're like, it's holding me back. Like, I hate to admit it, that I even have it, but like, it is holding me back. It's going to be painful to address. I'm going to do the work. And then when I come out of it, it's for someone else. I can help them with it. And it's been like the decision to like buckle up and feel all the things and go through the hard stuff, knowing that it's going to serve you and someone else in some way at the end. And that has been equally as terrifying as it has been satisfying.
Right.
Yeah.
You speak so well. You should do that publicly and in front of a lot of people more often. You should do that. Have you ever thought about that, about talking in front of people for like a living?
Just now that you mentioned it, I have.
Yeah.
So like within the last 4 seconds, I have.
Yeah. You're welcome for
Thank
any
you.
future success that you have in that industry.
Appreciate you. Royalties are coming your way.
What have you personally learned, over the past 2 years? You should know already what you get into when you come on my podcast.
I'm ready,
Sandra.
I'm ready. I was just deep breath, like, wow, what have I? Yeah, no, I'm ready.
What have you personally learned over the past 2 years that you're kind of applying to your life now?
Yeah, so it's where the real wounds are in business, and what I was calling them by accident, what I was subconsciously assuming they were, and what they were related to, versus like, oh, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. That doesn't work for people. Are you afraid? Hey, chicken. Hey, what? Because you don't know how, or you think that it's going to fail, or you think that they're not going to like it. Like those, dissecting these things about the things that I've just automatically said or believed, dissecting the belief systems behind the decisions that I make. If you don't like what's going on, or if you aspire or desire more, like if you aspire to something else, you desire something different and better, then you are definitely holding yourself back in some way. Where is it? Like, what is it? Where are you not going bigger? And like, that's one of the like taglines that I use, is like, go bigger, not because it's a greedy thing, but it's because your whole life is like waiting for you to fulfill it into the like fullness of who you are supposed to be, and all of this magic that you have inside it, and all, like, we're all geniuses on genius level, but we resist so much of it. Like, we just resist this opportunity, that conversation, doing the thing scared. Like, we resist so much. So it's like, I know that that's a human design piece of our like life experience. So where am I doing it? If I'm not living where I desire to live in any way, in any zone, where am I resisting, and what is the behavior behind it? So like, it's a lot of that. And then also just like, behaviorally with people, where am I dissatisfied? I've been really good at doing, like, I've implemented so many strong, healthy boundaries in my life. I don't hang out with people that I don't want to be with. I don't say yes to things I don't want to go to, even if it's like maybe. I'm like, I'm not going, and I'll tell you that. I'm not going to pretend I'm going to go. I'm like, I love my couch right now, and like you go have fun. But
my couch is quite lovely all the
it's
time.
so
It never
comfortable.
lets me down ever.
Never. It doesn't talk back. So I
Yes.
love it. And and then it's like, you know, when you hear people say like, oh, I gotta go here. Oh, I know, because I'm gonna hear about it if I don't. I'm like, ew, I don't operate like that. I never let guilt, shame, or pressure like make my decisions for me. Like, and hearing those things is like, ooh, like it's how I've come so far with that. But it's such an automatic response because people believe it's okay to make other people feel bad about their own personal decisions. So we accept it, but it's not something I want to accept ever. And I don't do it anymore. So it's like, if there are hot buttons, like in customer service issues, if somebody ever like, you know, if you get a feeling that somebody's going to email you and you don't know why, but like, then you get this email and it's like, is it nasty? Is it edgy? Are they annoyed? Are they what? And then it's like, my natural inclination would be to hide from that email, to give it a minute and like, let that stress fester. And like, you know, and so now I've done the work to drop the fear out of it and assume the best from them. And that's what ends up happening. It's like, they were just confused. There was no tone in that. They just didn't write it the right way. They're like foreign. They wrote it in a different tone. Like, so it's a lot of those things to make my experience in the everyday feel better.
Right. I love your perspective on everything, because this is why you're so inspiring. Like I could literally, what I want to do is just like sit back and just let you like just talk, because like because like everything you say is just like facts. Yes, truth, preach. Like it's not even Sunday and you're sitting here preaching. It's not,
Amen.
we're recording this on a Thursday, and it's like I'm not. Oh, is today your Sunday?
Yes.
Oh, well.
Yes. Well, it is now.
Yeah. Oh, just now.
Now it's Sacred Sunday.
Sacred Sunday Thursday is what it is. So you take all of this perspective personally, and you help you use that to help others as well. Can you just briefly tell people what exactly it is that you do to help people that reach out to you?
Sure. So there's like the element of, you know, natural content creation where you're sharing your experience. For me, the content creation is less of a step-by-step, more of a here's how I did it, and here's how it looks for me, here's how it feels for me, and here's the contrast that I've experienced. And if you don't like this, like I didn't like this, maybe this is a different way to look at it, like experience it, learn about it, whatever. And then so that's one way that like anyone can have access to the things that I do. And then another way that I help, like in my trainings, I'll have, like, I used to do a lot of step by step in like tactical, strategical, because I came from the corporate world that had nothing but that. And there was like literally nothing else in terms of like, do you want to learn how to do this? We'll send you to continuing education and you'll learn the step-by-step approach to whatever. Because literally all you have to do, monkey, is just like follow the map. And I'm like, okay. So, but now I'm like, wait a second. There's all these strategies that everyone's like, yeah, this is the best. You have to, you need to, you're missing out. This is why you're not this. And it's all fear-based crap. And then you take a strategy and you're like, it didn't work for me. Why? Am I the only loser? And then you stop trying. And then you're like, I'm the only loser. I got it. But it's actually just because it's not the strategy. It's the energy behind it. It's the intention. It didn't fit who you are as a person. It didn't feel good. That's why you didn't have the like the follow through or the inspiration or self momentum to do it. And so my trainings have morphed kind of in from a step by step where there's still instruction, depending on like if you need instruction, there's instructions, like it makes sense. But it's more about I'm gonna crack open my brain and show you how I think about these things so that you can take this thought process and put yourself in it, and then you'll have all the answers that are perfectly fit for you. Because I can't tell you what's gonna work for you. I can tell you what worked for me, and then you can tell me what's going on, and then I can say, okay, here's a bunch of options. What feels good? You know what I mean? Because their feel good is going to feel different than mine. And that is, if you feel good about something, you're like middle fingers all over the place to everybody else. Like, watch me work. I don't need your advice. I don't need your approval. I don't need your opinion. I don't care what you say. This is so much fun. I'm going. So how many times have you dated somebody that everyone's like, no, so many red flags, and you're like, oh gosh, I see the one green flag though.
Story of my life.
Right?
Story
so, like,
of my life.
When you're lit up, when something makes you happy, you don't care what your best friends think or your mom. Like, you just go. It's freeing. It's so freeing.
Right. And we were briefly talking about this before we hit the record button, but because you had asked me about, you know, the way that I go about content creation, and I was saying to you that like I found my footing now because to your point, what you just brought up, I just don't care. Like I care, because I care about what I do. I care about the people that are watching, but I also don't care. I know that sounds like weird, but like I try to, as much as possible, do what makes me happy. Not everybody is going to vibe with that. Not everybody is going to like it. I see a lot of times content creators will be so focused on trying to please everybody that
Yes.
they don't please themselves.
Yes.
And they end up becoming something that they're not, and they become miserable and they give up, or they put out really bad content.
Yep. Yeah, they put out
know?
bad content. That's not even
Yeah.
what they wanted to do.
hmm
But you're right. When you say like I don't care, but I care, it's
hmm
like you care deeply when
hmm
it's aligned with what you wanted to do. And you
Yes.
can see it because you deliver strong and you deliver full and like, you know,
hmm
you commit all the way through. So like you do care, but you don't care about the stuff that doesn't let you up.
Right.
And that's great. And you don't care
Absolutely.
about what people think about that because you can't.
Yeah,
You can't.
you really can't, because like the example I always give is that like I could put out a video of me saving a bunch of dogs from going over a waterfall, and then like I put up the video, and then there's always going to be one person in the comment that's like, but what about the cats? Like
I've said this about like Mother Teresa. I'm like, you know, people got problem with Mother Teresa. Like, really, how often did she shower if she was hanging out with the lepers? It's like, okay, settle down. What? How did you twist that? But like,
Right.
there's always going to be somebody. And
Mhm.
so, like, are we really trying for perfect? Because that's not
Right.
even a thing. Like,
Yeah,
what are we trying
perfect is not a thing. Perfection is overrated. I think that our quote
for?
imperfections are what make us who we are.
Power.
It's what makes us individuals.
Oh yeah,
And I think that's a good thing,
it's a
not
great.
not a bad thing. you know,
So good. It's
yeah.
like the perfectionism thing. It's like, first of all, the word's not even real
hmm
because it's not relative to anyone else ever. That's like
Yes.
you opinion equals perfect. Like
Yes.
your perfect is as equal to opinion as anything else. And even for yourself, even as just you and you're like, this is perfect, you could change your mind tomorrow. And I
hmm
guarantee you in 5 years, you'll be like, that outfit is not perfect anymore. That guy is not perfect for me anymore. Like
right.
you'll change it anyway. So how are you expecting anybody else in the whole world, all of them,
Right.
to assume some level of perfect and they're all united on it? And
Right.
also, why would we want that?
hmm
You don't have the energy to serve everybody.
Right.
You
Right.
don't, and you don't have time. So like just do the right thing and the right people come to you. And it's like it's really easy to trust that because look at your
Yes.
life. You know what I mean?
Exactly. It's funny because if the world were to see the Instagram like messages that you and I send each other,
Yeah.
they would quickly realize that neither of us have our life together.
No. Oh
And
gosh.
like, but
So
quite
messy.
often people are like, "Hi, you're just like you have it all together, you have it all figured out." And I'm pretty sure people on your side do the same thing because they
Oh
see you
yeah.
talking, things about things, and they're like, "Oh, Sandra has her shit together." Like,
Yes,
yeah.
it's ridiculous.
um but if they only knew,
Yeah.
if they only knew.
I try to tell them right away. Like if anyone's like, I know, but it just seems much easier for you. I'm like, oh, skirt, hold up. We got some work to do. Let me just share with you what's really real. And
Right.
because I don't want anyone to think that that's
hmm
not the image I'm trying to portray.
hmm
My friends call me the beautiful disaster because they're like, you look nice, but like you're a mess. I'm like, and they're like, even
You're
when
like,
you dress
thanks.
up, it's like, I don't know what's going to come out of your mouth or what you're going to spill. I'm like, uh-huh.
Right.
And they're like, you're late. You forget this. You don't know what I just said. You're talking too fast. I'm like, right. What? Try and keep up. It's like, it's so messy, but like, I like my life. I like it messy. I
Yeah.
like whatever it is.
Right, right. And
But
we have fun.
yeah,
While it's very clear in our messages to each other that we don't have our shit together,
no,
you and I have the best conversations ever. Our voice notes are probably the highlight of my freaking life,
they're so
because
good.
we're just so weird, and we just don't care because we know there's no judgment on the other side,
So
you
nice.
know?
It's like so safe to be able to be
Yes.
as weird as you are.
Yes.
And that's it. It's like and it's also really, really I feel like when I'm able to be like that around people, and I have done so much work about like deciding who gets to stay,
hmm
right?
Right.
And not because I'm not going to serve if they don't belong with me. I don't belong with
hmm
them either. So like I'm
Right.
not helping their life either. So it's not
hmm
like I get to pick. It's like it just doesn't make sense. So but like when you are around people that let you be as weird as you are,
hmm
the excitement, joy, and focus like elevates like crazy. Your intuition,
Yes.
your insight, your all of it just jumps up a level. And then it's also a confidence booster. Like I'm allowed to be as weird and stupid as I am, and I'm still accepted somehow.
Yes.
So this is all safe and good. And
Yeah.
then also it sparks creativity, this
Mhm.
laughter, this elevation higher on the emotional ladder. This is all good stuff. And then it's like, if that made them happy and it made me happy, I'm going to bring it to the world and make it happy. And there
Mhm.
is so, you can see it in yours, especially your content with the humor and the love. There's so much more that comes out of those conversations when you give for yourself permission to be as weird or
Yes.
dumb as you are.
Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely. I honestly, I don't go in to anything with like some like crazy expectation other than making myself happy, making
Yes.
myself laugh.
So
Like
good. So unique.
I don't really, people will like write me sometimes, be like, oh Kai, I saw this video that you posted. It doesn't, it's not doing as well numbers wise as the other ones. I'm like, I don't care.
Oh, I did it.
I don't care. I had fun making it.
Yeah, like that's, and what, isn't that the point? Like when you're
Yes.
talking to
Mhm.
content creators and it's like, oh, what do the numbers look? What is it? Do the numbers all convert to dollars? Is that what you care about? Do they all convert
Mhm.
to your ego in some measure? Like, do they
Mhm.
all? Because I can guarantee, I have clients that are making $1 million a year,
Mhm.
and they've got like 230 followers on Instagram.
Mhm.
They got 4 posts. Like you
Mhm.
wouldn't know it because that's not how they do it, and they don't
Right.
care at all. They
Mhm.
only post when they feel like, I just feel like sharing this, and like nobody
Yes.
comments because they've got no friends, and they're like, that was good for me, I love it. They're like, okay. So like that is the freedom of when you forget that like those numbers, they can matter for certain reasons when you talk about,
Well, for strategizing, sure. Yeah, of
yeah,
course. Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
like
Mhm.
they grow your context.
Yes.
What is this, a make or break post? Is your
Right.
entire life riding on this getting a certain number of likes or
Mhm.
responses or shares? Like, or are you developing like a legacy over a lifetime? Are you developing other
Mhm.
humans in a way that lights them up and that feels like you're on purpose every day?
Mhm.
Like, what is your context? Because if it's
Yeah.
all down to numbers, you're going to be miserable for the rest of your life.
Not only numbers, but also instant gratification.
Yes.
Like there's a bunch of you might even see this too. I'm curious. There are videos and content that I've made over a year ago that are just taking off now.
Yes. Yes.
Like now. And I'm
Yes.
like, oh, people like that video. I posted that when I was drunk,
You're like, I was 12.
crying when when I was like in my bedroom before I was diagnosed with all my mental disorders. Like
MySpace. They still have that? It's like,
my MySpace is taking off right now, Sandra. You don't even know.
oh my gosh, how's Tom doing?
He's great. He's a good guy. Good guy.
Still looking
My
behind him on
actual
the
first
computer.
friend.
Like, hey.
My actual first friend. I want to talk about your books, Miss best-selling international author.
Okay.
That's a pretty cool flex. That's a pretty
It's,
cool flex.
you know what, I appreciate the flex. I think it's, I never like set out to be a writer, let alone
Mhm.
somebody who's like credited for that, and
Right.
it was more about like I'd written an ebook to help female entrepreneurs and just, simplify their social media life and make it
Mhm.
easier because, with 4 kids and several businesses, it's like people are always like, how do you do it all? And I'm like, I don't make myself crazy on purpose. Like
Mhm.
I path of least resistance,
Right.
finding joy wherever I go. So the that evolved. Here's how it happened. I was
Right.
like, yeah, this ebook is out there, whatever. And then I got a call from New York State Police Association, like the state police organization, and the commissioner asked if I could, deputy commissioner asked if I could speak to their annual summit for the female
Mhm.
officers. They do this every year in New York, and I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, like being able to speak life into
Yes.
female officers
Mhm.
who are like being mothers or not, but like a lot of them are mothers and they're trying
Mhm.
to do their job and everybody hates them, and like their male counterparts don't always make it easy, and like, oh my
Right.
gosh, if there's something I can share to help, yes. And then she's like, perfect, well, what we do instead of a speaker fee is like we'll buy the book that you have. And I was like, perfect, yeah, definitely, because I'm
Mhm.
like, yeah, I wrote a book, whatever. And then I get
Right.
off the call and we like confirmed that we'll do it, and then I get off the call and I was like, oh, I can't give them a social media. They're cops. Like, what are they going to do with
Right.
this social media? Like, I got to write the power method. It's been in my, the title's been in my head for a while. So in 3.5 weeks, I wrote the book,
Holy cow.
sent it to print, got it back, and got ready for the event, which got canceled for COVID, but I had the book.
Right.
And it was when the book got out and it got done, I had a private viewing for 30 women in my life that were friends slash clients or partner, whatever. And I read the whole thing to them. I was like, get your blanket and your milk, and I'm gonna put you to bed, and I'm gonna read your story. And they all sat there for like an hour and 45 minutes, and I read this book, and the emotions in me were just because every chapter it's about power, leadership, and work-life integration. So every chapter has anecdotes about my life and how I've infused these things into my life, or why they're relevant at all. And so it became a very emotional thing, and I'm not a crier, so it was like whoa, I was hit with so much female support, and that was a thing that I hadn't had a lot in my life. There was a lot of female judgment and a lot of elbowing out, and then a lot of competition from men in corporate real estate. And it was just like I felt very seen, accepted, and loved. And at the end of it, these women are like, I cannot believe you wrote this book in 3 weeks, and that you had health conditions, that you were going to the neurologist, that you were blacking out, they thought you had a stroke. Like, this was all happening that month. And it was really like, I had people fly in to help me take care of my kids because I wasn't like medically okay. And that's when I wrote The Power Method. So there's like a lot of levels of like meaning in there. And then accidentally, and then when we did this reading, they were inspired. Half of them were like, I want to write my own book. I want to. And I was like, why don't we write a book together? And I will, like, the service being, I will help you write your story. You guys don't know how to write a story yet. I'll craft your story with you. We'll get it edited, formatted. We'll send it out to print. You guys will have all these numbers of copies or whatever. So we did that. They hired me to write Grit and Grace, and we did that. I did that with a friend of mine, and within just shy of 3 weeks, I had 2 international bestsellers.
That's freaking insane. You do realize that, right?
I was like, Jesus, was that you?
Like, legit. Like, that's like the coolest flex. And like, so with The Power Method, in that book, you one of the lines that I saw, you said that you talk about the kind of power women have and how it tends to get buried, right? Can you talk a little bit about that specifically and what you see on your end?
Yes. This is like, and I'll do it in the form of example because I think it makes the most sense. Where, for me, and I mentioned it a little bit in a way in The Power Method, but for me, it's like, I don't know if being a Leo has anything to do with it, but I am. And that's kind of typically like a fiery sign, and a lot of energy, spoke fast, moved fast, lots of joy, had lots of fun. And I remember very early on, too loud, shh, quiet down, go slow. Hey, speak slower. Wait. Settle. Okay, you're too messy. So I'm being trained to keep it smaller, keep it quieter, so like mute your fire, put it down, like only for sometimes. You're not allowed to be you all the time everywhere. Just like once in a while you can be you. You know, that was not what was said, but that was absolutely the feeling that I got. And that was what I understood needed to happen. And so there were only certain people that you're allowed to be you with, and there's only certain ways that it would be appropriate to be loud, or, you know, everybody in the world thinks you talk too fast. I know for a fact that the human ear can hear 3 times as fast as my voice. So try and keep up. Like, my voice might make people anxious that like to go really slow, but I can't listen to slow. My brain shuts down. Like, I'm mute. I can't hear it. Like, so they're not for me. I'm not for them. And it's the power that I have. Like we talked about, when you unleash and you stop caring what they think and you stop modifying who you are to suit their needs, then all of a sudden, all these people can see who you really are and go, oh yeah, I like that. Oh, that's bright and shiny. I like that. Makes me feel good. And then the other people are like, goodbye. And you're like, bye.
Right.
Like, it's when you unleash who you are, that's the power, because that's what draws in the magnetism, the opportunities, the conversations, the purpose, all of it. And the life experience of being who you are really, and allowing that power to come all the way through. It's not power over people. It's the inner power that we have to just live and give in the world. And so when you can do that, number one, you feel like you're fulfilling your purpose in the everyday in life as the person that you are. But then you get the benefit, the added bonus of helping people that want that part of your power, that want that energy in your space, and they love it. And then you also have the benefit of being able to monetize this power, because this is the gift you were given. And if you can make money serving it with it, then everybody's better off. And that the money that you receive enhances who you are, because you're like, I was going to do it anyway. This makes me feel great. Like, it all just, that's the power that I'm kind of talking about. And miracles happen when you end up allowing yourself to be that.
And on top of that, like, I love that these kind of stories will kind of start the conversation, right?
Yeah.
Because obviously there's a lot of work that people will need to do just as individuals, but this kind
Yes.
of starts the conversation. And that's also kind of what Grit and Grace does, because it's written, there's multiple like authors kind of like part of this and telling their stories. And you had written that you had the hope of creating more conversation and expanding collective wisdom via the life experiences. Since that book has been released, what has the, I guess, conversation been like? What have you seen kind of, come from that? Because I think it's so incredible that you're able to get these stories from multiple perspectives, multiple people, multiple women that have these really interesting, visceral, honest, genuine stories, and telling it so that people from all over the world can find a way to either empathize or understand what is happening here. What has been like the response that you've seen from that?
Man, like first of all, the response of these women being able to tell the stories that they did. These are women from different countries, different cultures, different languages even, and totally different life experiences. Every story is different, and it's the grit that they went through and the grace that was in it to help them be better or love more or come out alive, or like the miracle that happened or whatever. And so the fact that they were willing to share some of these things, I'm like, whoa. And they're like, a lot of them were like, this is the first time I've ever told this story. And I'm like, and you're doing it on stage naked? Like, this is amazing. Like, oh my gosh. So the courage that these women were exhibiting fed me, like if we're going to be doing this together, like I feel so much stronger with like shoulder to shoulder with these awesome women who've been through hard things, never talked about it, and are willing to share this just for the sake of inspiring another woman that they might never ever meet. So when these stories went out, reviews on Amazon started coming out, people started sharing things on social media. Women had a voice in these ways, in these hard times, and in the grit. They saw each other in their losses of their children, their family members, their mental health, their physical health, their relationships, the lies, that the paradigm that broke for them and what happened and how that affect. And all these women are like, me too, me too, me too. And if you're brave enough to say these things that seem embarrassing or shameful, and then you're coming and you're just drawing the gold out of that, like it gives other women, even if they never say it, but so many do, is that it gives me courage to like, maybe not necessarily even talk about the thing, but like heal it. Because if I see that it's okay that you say it, then I'm like not afraid anymore if people find out. And that even alone, but like so many women want to share now. And it's like, see, when you get it out, and then it goes back to the power method, because even in the power method, I talk about like what happens, like the kintsugi art, when you share your, like the Japanese art of creating that gold polymer in between the cracked vessels, makes it more artistic. It's art. So you might have cracks, but if you highlight the cracks, let them know, expose them, who cares? Guess what? It makes the art look better. It makes you more valuable as a person, and it makes other people, improve their lives in some way. So it's all so good. And I had no idea that would actually reflect back and kind of feed into the purpose of the power method in that way. But it was really a beautiful synergy in the end.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that you brought up the mental health aspect of it, because like that's my entire platform, in regards to mental health.
Oh yeah.
With, I guess, a combination of the feedback that you received on the books, and you speak with people every single day, hearing their stories and telling your story and all of that. From a mental health standpoint, what do you feel has been the biggest hurdle that people seem to run into, that you specifically talk with?
I think the fear and doubt, which is a very natural human, like, emotion or response, is the thing that ends up, when people feel it, often they make it mean something that it doesn't. And we make all these things mean something. Like when you can just be sad. And I'm not talking about, I'm not trying to make this about depression or anything that's like a deeper clinical issue, but I'm talking about in generalizing, where if you're, if it's sad, it's like, oh, I'm so hurt by that. Now it's everybody does that to me. Story of my life. Now it's like, now you're compounding, now you're expanding it, making this more and mean everything about who you are, how you operate, and what you get to be worth in the world. And so this spiraling down of of one feeling and making it mean everything, because there's a stress response chemically that feeds that and makes it feel good. The stress response in a negative way is also very addictive in our bodies. So we get addicted to the feeling of despair. And if we're not aware of that, we sit in it. And these are the people that you're like, avoid them. This conversation is going to go south in 3, 2, oh God, here they go again. Like, those are the people. When I hear people say story of my life, I'm like, I know everything about your mindset now. When people are like, just my luck, I'm like, oh God, like, oh God. And like, it's not just your luck, you're deciding that it is. And it's because you've made these bad things that have happened, like incrementally, mean everything about who you are. Why don't we do that with the happy? Why don't we make our happy mean everything? Why don't we protect the crap out of our happy? When we're sad, we sit on the couch and watch movies that make us sad, and we listen to only music that makes us so sad, and we refuse help from anyone that wants to lift us up, because that doesn't fit our frequency right now. We want to be sad and feel this. Feel it, get it all the way out. But like, you got to step forward and get out of the pit and then feel something else, and stop making it mean that it has to be compounded. Because if we protected our happy like we protect our sad or angry, oh my God, you couldn't stop us. Like, it would be a freight train of joy, like hitting everywhere. This is when you say, I don't care what you think, I'm so happy. I don't care how it feels for you. I'm not hurting you. I'm doing my thing. I love this one little thing that I'm celebrating, and I'm going to bring it up 5 times today because it's so great and it feels so good. And it's like, but it's only this one little thing. And I love it so much. And like, you don't let people take your joy and your happy. So that, I think that's what it is, making these little things mean everything, and then having all of these little amazing things mean nothing. It's like, what, we're toppling the scales in the wrong direction.
Right. And you obviously can't pour from an empty glass. So for you personally, like, how have you centered yourself so that you're able to, continuously, like on a daily basis, help people improve their lives, improve their businesses? How do you center yourself?
Yeah. I used to think that people would say like, who's pouring into your cup? People will say that sometimes. I'm like, I don't need a person to pour into me. I like it, but I don't need it. And I know, like, human design, another thing is that's helped me decide, or to discover who I am in the way that I operate, what's easiest for me, like how I can, like, path of least resistance, anything else in my life that, it just, knowing that I have a certain amount of energy in a certain way and that I respond to certain things better than others. Now, knowing that, I'm able to put up the healthier boundaries in stronger ways, put new ones up that I didn't know that I would need to help me even better. And I'm able to say, like, all right, what lights me up? Like, what makes me feel the most like me? Is it like going for a really fast car ride on a highway that lets you open up to 75 or 80 and just like jam out with, like, I don't know, Simple Plan, Nicki Minaj, whatever. These are all hypothetical, of course, not real at all. But like, and then is it like gymnastics and hip hop? Yes, it is. Is it going to be meditation, tapping? Yes. Like, is it going to be move your freaking body? You got to move more than this. You know why you feel like this. You got no energy flowing. Like, so knowing what I operate well with on a daily basis with my mental energy, what makes me feel like me, what brings me back to the joy that I had when I was like at a young age, is kind of like, when do you feel the most free with no responsibilities and vary yourself and you're allowed to be who you are? Those moments, like, capture that. Was it like Crisscross and New Kids on the Block on roller skates with a Walkman and showing off for your neighbors, and they have to pay 10 cents to watch you in the driveway and they never even do because you're horrible at it? Like, maybe it's that, but you're like, I don't care. My sister made me do it. So then if it's that, like, I've got roller skates right here. I'm like, I got roller skates again because it's like, these are legal again. Perfect. I'm going to get roller skates, and I'm not going to be burned at the cross for them because I'm not that old anymore if 20-year-olds are doing it. And then I love roller skating, so I'm going to do it. So those things are like, that fills my cup naturally because that's aligned with who I am. And then it's, if I feel that, and like breath work is important, it's all physiology plus like health. It's the combination of so many things. Back to why I train on different things is because they're all really important. And then I decide to surround myself with the right voices. So I don't listen to things that I don't like. I've never, ever purchased a newspaper. Lies. I got Wall Street Journal because I had to for my credit hours for finance when I graduated, and it sat stockpile in the back of my apartment. Like, I've never watched the news intentionally. I've passed by it. I feed myself with good friends, good podcasts, good music. I watch the language and the lyrics in the music because I know that it can integrate with who I am by accident. And so I'm careful. I'm careful to like guard what comes in and what I look at too, like what I'm visually looking at. I don't do a lot of scrolling, and I guard myself like that.
You're amazing. Amazing. like you're just like a vault of like knowledge and insight and grace and eloquence.
I'm gonna come on here once a week now if you
Yeah.
keep talking like this.
You should
That fills me up being on the Vibe with Kai. Thank
the Kairos and Sandra show.
you.
I'd watch it. We would have a how amazing would our morning show be?
We don't care what anyone else thinks. It would be amazing.
It would be the most fantastic like morning show.
With all of our voices that we do. Oh,
Everybody would be so annoyed.
yeah.
They'd be like- I'd be so annoyed. It would get old so fast. But
Let me
you and
ruin
I
your
are having
day. I'll
fun.
share you my voice notes with Kai. We just ruin your day.
That's right. We just ruined everything. They're like, why have they been speaking with a British accent for literally 20 straight minutes? Why? Why? They're not even good at it.
More intense. Why are they doing this? He's never been to England yet.
Oh my
Okay.
God. I've been to New England. Does that count?
Does that count? I'm here.
I love it. Sandra, you're amazing. Thank you so much for sitting and chatting with me. My friends, all of the things that she talked about today, including her best-selling international books, if you are interested in getting that yourself, I have included the link to all of those things, including her website and her digital courses and all that stuff, so that you can reach out and speak with her directly about. I put that all in the description notes of this video, of this podcast, so you can go click on it and go explore. My friend, you're not gonna regret it. I'll tell you that. Because what you see, what you see right here, that is who she is. That's what you get. Like there's no there's no like a facade. Like this is it. And that's why I love you.
I love you. This is so
My friends, be sure to like and subscribe to this channel if you want to be the first to be notified whenever I do anything like this. And be sure to subscribe to the Vibe with Kai Patreon, where you're going to get some extra footage of me and Sandra having a having a little Q&A real quick, talking a little bit more but that's only for the Patreon people. That's only for the people that subscribe. So they're going to get some special stuff in addition to what they just saw right here. Thank you again to my friend Sandra for sitting with me today. Be sure to follow me on all of your favorite social media channels, and more exclusively on Patreon and all that other stuff, because I offer that for you. Until next time, my friends, good vibes. Bye.